being ridiculous might be the most powerful thing you can do. Because everything that ever mattered, everything that ever changed the world, started as a joke. In Paris, 1783, a man climbed onto a rooftop with what looked like a giant umbrella strapped to his back. He called it a parachute. People below didn't see an invention. They saw comedy. They laughed as he leapt, and though his design barely worked, the idea refused to die. Years later, the first cars rattled through the dusty streets. Horsemen pulled aside, smirking at these loud, clumsy machines. Who would ever trade a horse for that? Today, it's the horse that feels absurd. Even Edison's light bulb was mocked. His workshop was filled with wires and failures, while newspapers joked that no sensible person would ever replace a candle. And yet, entire cities soon pulsed with his ridiculous toy. That's the pattern. Ridiculous isn't the opposite of genius, but rather ridiculous is the raw material genius is truly made of. The real joke? Well, most of us never dare to look ridiculous. We dodge it our whole lives, terrified of being the fool, the outcast, the punchline. And in the end, we silence ourselves and play it safe, and somehow call it reasonable. And that's how revolutions die before they're born, not in violence or in failure, but in the quiet decision to never risk looking ridiculous. Because ridicule isn't a verdict, it's a test. The universe's way of asking, are you serious about this or not? And the people who pass, well, they're the ones who stand firm while the world laughs. They're the ones who move it forward. Why does being ridiculous scare us so much? Well, because history has taught us that laughter can crush a dream before it even begins. Look at the Wright brothers. Neighbors watched them drag strange wooden contraptions through the fields of Ohio. They laughed, called them fools chasing flying bicycles. But those same neighbors lined up years later to buy tickets for airplanes. Or Thomas Edison. They mocked his impossible light bulb. Investors walked out. One newspaper called him a clown, wasting money on toys. But when the first light bulb lit up a street corner, the ridicule went dark. Walt Disney. He was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. His first company collapsed. And when he pitched Disneyland, bankers laughed. Adults won't pay to walk through a cartoon. Today, Disney is the most visited place on Earth. And then there's J.K. Rowling. 12 publishers rejected Harry Potter. One even told her, "Children won't read a story that long." The series went on to sell 500 million copies and define an entire generation. Or Elon Musk. Critics said electric cars were a billionaire's hobby, that rockets returning to Earth was science fiction. Some investors laughed straight to his face. Today, those same rockets land like pencils and Teslas outsell their gas rivals. If you look, the pattern is everywhere. First, they laugh. And then, they watch. And finally, they wonder how they ever doubted. So maybe ridicule isn't a stop sign. Maybe it's proof. It's proof you're standing on the edge of something others simply can't see yet. Maybe you're thinking, sure, but my ideas aren't that big. I'm not building rockets. I'm not drawing mice that turn into empires. I don't have that kind of genius or luck. Look closer and you'll see. It doesn't matter if it's a rocket to Mars or a sketch on the back of a napkin. The size isn't what makes it ridiculous. It's that you dare to start. Like the guy who decides to run his first mile, even though his friends laugh because he can't even make it around the block. Or the woman who posts her first video online. 3 views. 2 are her own. To them, it's cringe. To her, it's a beginning. Or the friend who says, "I want to start my own business." And everybody nods politely while secretly thinking, that'll never work. Maybe they're right at first. until they're not. You see, being ridiculous isn't about scale. It's about courage. It's about choosing to move, to try, to risk the laugh. Every great story sounds ordinary at the start. Harry Potter was just a draft on a napkin. The Wright brothers were just tinkering in a bike shop. And Disney was just a guy sketching a mouse. The difference is they kept going, even when it looked ridiculous. So maybe your dream doesn't look like much right now. Maybe it feels too small or too clumsy, too laughable. Good. That's how it's supposed to feel in the beginning. Ridicule isn't a reason to stop, but it's a sign you're finally starting. Still, ridicule doesn't mean reckless. The real courage lies in building something new, not in destroying what's around you. It's not about forcing your vision at any cost, but wise enough to know it should never wound. The best revolutions are the ones that lift people higher, not the ones that leave only ashes behind. And at some point, you have to decide, do you hide from ridicule or treat it like a compass? When people laugh, it usually means you've crossed into a new territory, and the more uncomfortable you feel, the more alive your idea really is. Think about it. No one laughs at the ordinary. No one mocks the predictable. They only laugh when you dare to step outside the script. So yes, it will sting. You'll be called unrealistic, naive, most likely embarrassing, and maybe even delusional. But remember, every insult is just a delayed compliment. Because today they laugh, and tomorrow they watch, and one day they'll wonder how they ever doubted you. And if you're still afraid, good. That fear is proof you're alive. It's the pressure at the edge of the map, where the known world ends and a new one begins. So go ahead. Be ridiculous. Start the project. Sing that song. Write the page. But take the risk. Because every revolution, every empire, every moment begins the same way. As a joke someone dared to take seriously. And maybe the next one is yours. This is me, my way of stepping into the ridiculous by making these videos. Maybe you'll laugh at me. Maybe you'll criticize me, or maybe you'll support me. Any of it will shape me, because that's what stepping out does. It turns every reaction into fuel. Yours might look different. A line in a notebook, a business you dare to start, a story you chose to share in the comments or out in the world. It could be just a sentence you leave below, or a dream so bold you've never dared to say it out loud. It doesn't matter how small or how big, what matters is that it's yours. And even a simple like or follow can be your way of saying, I'm in. Not for the algorithm, but for a quiet sign that you're ready to begin too.